I'm what's called a coda. My parents were both born deaf. I was not. When people in the hearing world learn that about me, they always want to know more.
You start out, you go ahead, and then go out with your hand.
I've always had one foot in the deaf world and one in the hearing world. I translated a lot for my parents. It made us closer. Now that it's been over a year since we've seen each other in person, communication is more important than ever. Especially with this guy. It's their first time being grandparents, so they don't want to miss a single moment. And I don't either. We can't wait for you to meet him.
Hello, and welcome to today's presentation, Make Your Small Business More Accessible. My name is Del McGee, and I am an accredited small business consultant with America's SBDC in Abilene. And I am an Abilenian, so I am very proud of that. 1 second there. Minimize that because I can't see the screen. Okay. I am a graduate of Hardin-Simmons University with a bachelor's degree in behavioral science and a master's degree in management. As I stated, I am also an accredited small business consultant with America's SBDC. I'm excited to be bringing you this webinar today, and I'm glad that you could join us. The video we just saw showed just how much of an impact accessibility can make on a personal level. We will show you what it means to reach people with disabilities as a small business owner. We'll go over best practices for making digital communications and physical stores accessible to all customers. And we'll show why taking these steps to be inclusive is so important to your business. In today's workshop, we'll discuss what we mean by accessibility, how to design a website with accessibility in mind, how to create emails that are easier to read and understand, physical accessibility, and some tips that can help your business be more inclusive. Let's get started. To understand accessibility, you first need to understand the challenges that people with disabilities often face in their daily lives. Some disabilities are visible. Others are not immediately apparent, but someone with any type of impairment may encounter barriers to completing certain tasks or activities. Accessibility ensures that people with disabilities can perceive, understand, navigate, and interact with the products, services, and tools available to anyone else. Often, this can be done with the help of assistive technologies that break down these barriers. The World Health Organization estimates over 1 billion people worldwide live with some form of disability. That's 15% of the world's population and 1 in 4 adults in the United States. That means over 25% of your potential customers in the US have a disability. Another thing to think about, if you or your customers don't have a disability now, you might in the future. It could be temporary, like an injury that requires that you use crutches, or something more permanent. Globally, people with disabilities have over $6 trillion in spending power. If your business isn't thoughtful about how to connect and communicate with these potential customers, you're missing out on a large group of people with significant resources. And that's where we get to building for accessibility. Building for accessibility means producing digital content that people with disabilities can perceive, understand, navigate, and interact with. It's about designing your business communications, products, and physical space in ways that allow people with disabilities to engage. People can't buy your products and services if they can't understand and engage with them. So building for accessibility is good for business since it expands your market. And here's a bonus. These tactics often improve the experience of all users. How's that? Imagine a football game is playing on the TV in a noisy bar. To improve the experience for people with disabilities, the bar owner might enable closed captions on the TV screen. Closed captions can help people with hearing impairments access the game commentary and access the content on the television. But in a noisy bar, closed captions can help everyone, hearing impairment or not. You'll see that many of the strategies we are going to review today benefit all users. And it's important to note that implementing these strategies can help you comply with rules and laws, lessening your company's legal risk. There are so many things we can do to make existing digital content more accessible to those with disabilities. Let's take a closer look at universal design. Universal design means designing for everyone, whether they have a disability or not. Universal design can help those with and without disabilities better comprehend digital content. It includes many different techniques to help people comprehend digital content, including image descriptions, alt text, color contrast, design techniques, formatting, and video captions and transcripts. Let's explore each of these examples. Adding alternative text for images is a key principle of web accessibility. It is also one of the most difficult to properly implement. Let's start with a quick exercise. How would you describe this image? It's coffee, yes, but what else? Specifically, it's a white ceramic cup filled with black coffee on a saucer with a spoon. But with alt text, context is key. You should ask, what meaning is this image supposed to convey? Is there a reason to include that amount of detail in the description? Alternative text should represent the content in context and the function of the image. The key principle is that computers and screen readers cannot analyze an image and determine what the image represents, what the image presents or represents. Alternative text can be presented in two ways: within the alt attribute of the image element, or within the context or surroundings of the image itself. So, back to the image of the coffee. Consider why it's on the web page. If its purpose is to help the user make a menu selection, coffee, the alt text might simply be coffee. If the purpose of the image is to sell dinnerware, the alt text might be white ceramic cup and saucer. And if the purpose of this image was purely decorative, not adding any content or function, the alt text might actually be blank. This is a big topic to unpack. There is a great resource article about alternative text on webaim.org. WebAIM stands for Web Accessibility in Mind, a nonprofit organization based at the Institute for Disability Research, Policy, and Practice at Utah State University. To find the article, visit their website at webaim.org and search for alternative text. The URL is also listed in the resource section at the end of this presentation. When you add an image to your website, you have two distinct ways for visitors to understand it: alt text and descriptions. Some of you out there might call these captions. Alt text, an abbreviation for alternative text, is a sort of behind-the-scenes label for an image on a website. Though it cannot be seen on the web page, it is picked up by screen readers. That means that a visually impaired person using a screen reader will hear the alt text description of the image read aloud, giving them a fuller understanding of the information on the page. Alt text also helps search engines properly categorize the content of websites, potentially improving the site's search engine optimization. Alt text is separate from descriptions. Descriptions are visible. They appear on the page with the image. Without descriptions or alt text, a screen reader will miss the image. That the image is part of the content in its entirety. Let's talk about using images in your communications. As mentioned, an unlabeled image will not be seen by a screen reader. The same is true for charts and graphs. Alt text should be added to charts and graphs, offering a short description of the graph or chart for the screen readers. In this case, there should also be a second description, a long description. This can either be a caption or a link to a page with a detailed description. This is especially important for charts and complex information. The caption on this slide says, "With the addition of 5 new training spaces over the course of the last year, we are now able to accommodate more people." It's helpful, but it could go even further. Here's a more detailed, informative caption. The number of waitlisted students begins in Q4 2016 as over 80, and steadily drops to less than 40 by Q4 2017. The number of students classified as enrolled and attended rose over this same time period, reaching over 80 and 60 respectively. In that caption, you have highlighted the key points for your reader, and they can examine the graph more closely for greater insights. Think of your audience to determine what level of detail is required for the caption. Also, it may be helpful to provide data in an alternative format, such as a spreadsheet, since assistive technology cannot sort, view, and parse the tabular data. You can use the website coding to connect these descriptions with the associated image for the screen reader. If you want a tutorial, visit the World Wide Web Consortium W3C website at www.w3.org and search for complex images. Incidentally, the W3C has an initiative called WAI, Web Accessibility Initiative, dedicated to promoting a high degree of usability for people with disabilities. Color is an important tool for making your content accessible. Those with visual disabilities can see darker colors more clearly than lighter colors in general. But it's not just the colors. In making color choices for your content, it's important to take into consideration the contrast between background and text. The colors should be dissimilar enough so text is readable. Here, we can see how contrast can affect readability. In the example on the left, the colors have low contrast, making the letters softer, muddier. Compare that to the higher contrast combination on the right, which lets the letters stand out sharply, increasing readability. There are design standards for color contrast for regular sized and large font. You can learn more at W3C's site under the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. While color is a powerful tool, relying only on color to indicate distinctions may leave behind the 300 million people who have color blindness. As an example, consider a traffic map that shows clogged routes in red and roads with good traffic flow in green. If someone cannot distinguish between green and red, how will they know which route has less traffic? There are some design techniques that can help make it easier for people. First, think of color in terms of high contrast, hue, light versus dark, saturation, intensity of the color, and brightness. Use thick lines. Use various patterns of dashed lines. Don't assume color conveys a specific meaning. Use textures to distinguish objects. Add patterns or labels to ensure contrast in charts. And finally, don't forget to label elements like titles, legends, and X and Y axes. Here are some examples of these design techniques. We can get a sense of how high contrast, hue, saturation, and brightness works by translating this color chart into a grayscale format. See how the stronger hues on the color chart correlate to stronger grays. Remember that using contrasting colors can make letters and numbers pop. In the graph on the right, you can see how the different design elements we talked about improve readability. Thicker lines, dashed lines in various patterns, labeled elements like titles, legends, and X and Y axes. If you have ever scanned the headlines and subheads of an article or instruction book to quickly find what you are looking for, then you know how useful those bits of text can be. Assistive technology allows readers to scan a document in this way also, by creating a list of all the headers. This list is generated based on the way your document is formatted. In this example, using Google Docs, the built-in text formatting tool organizes the headings within a document for all readers, from largest text at H1 to the smallest text, H6. Google Docs creates a document outline based on your header choices, while assistive technology gathers these elements into heading lists. This is similar to Microsoft Word. In this example, the screen reader has organized the headings into a list that allows the user to hear the headings in order. WebAIM surveyed screen reader users in 2019. Nearly 70% of the people polled said that they navigate content via headings like these. So, correctly implementing headers will make a significant difference for your users with disabilities. Now let's take a look at formatting text links. Well-written text links set the user's expectations about where the link will take them if they click on it. Take the first example. Visit the Grow with Google homepage for free training, tools, and resources to help you grow your skills, career, or business. When I see the link on the text Grow with Google homepage, I assume that if I click this link, I will be taken to a homepage that discusses the Grow with Google program. Linking only the words "this link" does not give me a clear idea of where I will land. Just as screen reader users can navigate a page by headings, they can also jump to all links within a page via a link listing. Links that are not descriptive can cause confusion and make your site, document, or presentation difficult to navigate for screen reader users. Remember, we discussed using closed captions on the football game on TV in the noisy bar. You remember that? Well, that's not the only use for closed captioning. If you use videos for your business, perhaps on your website, you can add them here too. Captions and transcripts increase accessibility, and there are a few ways to create them. You can use automatic captioning, automatic transcripts, create your own captions, or have a knowledgeable vendor create captions for you. Let's take a look at the way automatic captioning works in different platforms, starting with YouTube. YouTube can use speech recognition technology to automatically create captions for most videos. Those captions are published with the video. Automatic captions are available in English, Dutch, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. Auto-translate is available in the settings for even more languages. That's pretty easy, right? But it's important to note that while auto captions are a good start for making video content more accessible, they are not a perfect substitute for human-created captions. You can learn more about YouTube subtitles and captions in the YouTube Help Center. Another video platform, Vimeo, allows users to toggle their auto captioning tool on and off while an event is live. And if you've ever watched a TED Talk online, you might have noticed the speech bubble icon on the video player. This opens a window to select a language for subtitles, which will play when the viewer returns to the video. Do you use TikTok? It has an auto captions feature that automatically generates captions for videos that have sound or voices. Creators have the option to toggle this feature on and off. Some platforms offer video transcripts too. In YouTube, you can view an automatic transcript with or without timestamps. Transcripts can also be uploaded to create the video captions. Here's a quick YouTube tip. You can ensure that all of your video caption text is accurate by starting with the automatic transcript, editing if necessary, and then uploading it. You can learn more in the YouTube Help Center by searching for the section titled Add Subtitles and Captions. PDF documents often require more thought and effort to make accessible. Complex PDFs with images and diagrams are generally not accessible through assistive technology, but even text-only PDFs can be difficult for assistive technology to interpret. If you use PDFs, use the tagging remediation software provided by Adobe to add accessibility. Visit Adobe's accessibility information at www.adobe.com/accessibility. Okay, So let's talk about how you can make your email communications accessible as well. There are a number of clear best practices to use in any email campaign to ensure it is accessible to all. Think about these steps when you are creating your email. The text should be arranged in a logical order for readability. Screen readers and other commonly used assistive technologies scan text from left to right and top to bottom. With that in mind, keep text in a single column. One column layouts streamline content and help reinforce how the text is read. Sticking with this simple format also lessens the likelihood of sensory overload and confusion for users. Make the purpose of the hyperlinked text clear. Avoid calls to action like learn more, get started, and click here. They are too vague. Avoid emojis in the email subject line and when conveying critical information. Emojis can be difficult for users who are visually impaired to interpret. Also, different operating systems may translate emojis differently while using a screen reader. This can result in a misunderstanding of critical information. You want to maintain a 60-40 text-to-image ratio. Too much text or too many images can make navigation difficult. Avoid overusing links, even if they're clearly labeled. Too many hyperlinks can lead to a poor reading experience. Maintain a minimum 14-point font size in your email body. Anything smaller can be difficult to read. Footers, disclaimers, terms and conditions can be smaller. You want to maintain good contrast ratios. Avoid visual cues based on color. Remember that 300 million people experience color blindness, so underline or bold hyperlinked text instead of color coding it. And if your email includes a video, be sure to include closed captioning, especially if the video includes critical information or instructions. If you want more information about any of these suggestions, check out the W3C's Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. So far, we focused on accessibility considerations for online. Let's switch gears for a moment and talk about accessibility in your physical business space. Take a moment to think about your business's physical space and assess it with all potential customers in mind. Noise. What's the noise level? Can you make adjustments for the hearing impaired? Obstacles. Is the space easy to navigate, particularly for those with visual or motor impairments, e.g., example, wheelchair users, motor scooter or scooter users, or even people on crutches? Access. Is there an elevator? Is there a wheelchair accessible entrance and parking? Regulations. Do your counters and doorways comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA? Then, take one more step. In online listings and on your website, include applicable information to help people know what to expect. Do you welcome service animals? Are you ADA compliant? Does the building have a wheelchair accessible entrance? Let potential new customers know how your business meets their needs. In the end, accessibility is really about respecting the needs of others and understanding the challenges they may face. So I want to close this session by offering a few thoughts of what it means to be inclusive when you interact with someone who has disabilities. Don't make assumptions. Many disabilities are invisible or hidden, including some physical disabilities or mental health conditions. Speak normally. Avoid over-enunciating or slowing your speech, or speaking loudly, unless asked to do so. And it's okay to use pleasantries like "see you later," even if you meet a person who has a visual impairment. Another good rule of thumb: if you aren't sure, ask. Ask before offering assistance. The person may refuse the offer, but it's okay to ask. Respect an individual's request and personal space. For example, someone may ask you to write directions because they prefer them to verbal instructions. Try to accommodate requests when you can. If a person uses a wheelchair, crutches, or cane, treat those items as part of their personal space. If you'd like to learn more about accessibility, we've listed a few resources for you on this slide. You can see we have links to the ADA standards. American with Disability Act is a big thing when it comes to building spaces. The zoning and planning department here in the city of Abilene or in your local city can definitely help you with what's required for ADA. Pretty much what you need to consider is if you're leasing a space or moving into a space, any leasehold improvements you're going to do is going to require ADA compliance if the building is not already compliant. There are links here to the Google Disability Support and other online links that will help you understanding accessibility. And that brings us to the end of this presentation. This has been a short one. There is a lot of things to consider when it comes to accessibility. There's a lot of things that you can do. The thing that you have to remember is take care of your customer. Don't assume that they can navigate or understand what you're doing. You need to ask them what their needs are when you're working with them. Take the time to when you create your content, if you're doing advertising or if you create videos online, things like that, use closed captioning. These things help. Not only does it help people with disabilities, there's a lot of people that just prefer closed captioning when they're watching things because they read along. There's a lot of young people that do that. I don't know why, but they do it. So it's a big thing. And, be conscious of the colors you're using. Use clear alt text for your images and describe what you want to describe and make sure your links are well listed and well documented of what the links actually do. Don't use vague call to actions in your links. I'd like to thank you so much for tuning into this presentation and participating today. It is a big topic with a lot of considerations, and we hope you discovered some new ways to help make your small business more accessible to people with disabilities. We truly value your feedback, and I would appreciate it if you would take a moment to share your thoughts with the folks at Google and let them know how this presentation was, because they use the feedback to help me better do presentations. We also appreciate your feedback at America's SBDC. There will be a link on the next page that will take you to our website that we'll get to. You can access the Google survey at g.co/grow/feedback or by using your mobile phone's camera to scan the QR code on this slide. And then you'll click the banner that appears and to access the survey. If there are any questions at this time, I will be happy to take any questions that people may have. I seem to have something in the chat. You are very welcome for giving me thanks for this. I really appreciate you coming in. I hope that you found this presentation useful and that you will join us for future presentations. I do try to do at least 2 Grow with Google webinars monthly, and they will be listed on our training webpage. So I do invite you to attend future events. And if there's something that we haven't covered that you would like for us to cover, please let us know, because we will put together training sessions and present the material that is important to you as a small business owner. Once again, this has been a presentation of America's SBDC at Texas Tech University here in Abilene in partnership with Grow with Google. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Have a great day.